Case studies allow us to look at real-life situations and ask, how could the I Do philosophy have helped? Stay with me, and we will discuss some case studies. Greetings, daters of all ages. I'm John F. Whitney, author of the book I Do, If It's Equitable, a philosophy for dating and marriage to avoid the potential horrors of divorce. I will be your host and your guide as we discuss the I Do philosophy. This is Section 5, Video 1 of 1, Case Studies. The red square at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen is a subscribe button. If you feel I am doing a good job, please consider clicking that subscribe button anytime during this video. Case 1. If only I had seen. Sandra is awestruck by a very handsome man who works in her office building and begins dating him. A woman who once dated him warns Sandra that he is self-centered and hot-tempered. Sandra believes the man's assertions that this woman is just jealous and trying to destroy their relationship. Months later, Sandra finally accepts the warnings as truth. He was nice at first, but became more obnoxious and thoughtless as time went on. He would invite her to dinner, then not show up, or show up late with friends, or demand she pay for the meal. Often picking up the tab meant Sandra spent money that was supposed to go towards paying bills. His behavior became increasingly unpredictable and immoral. He expected Sandra to participate in a future threesome he was planning to have. Sandra discussed needed changes in the relationship and his behavior. He convinced her things would change. Soon thereafter, Sandra learned that he was seeing someone else. Worse yet, he was boasting to his male friends that these were the two babes he was going to have his threesome with. Enraged, Sandra confronts him. In her anger, she suggests he seek professional help for his many problems. He responds by physically abusing her. Case 2. He has eyes but does not see. Jim provides consultant therapy to nursing home patients. He meets an aide. They begin dating. She is everything he hoped to find in a woman. For 6 weeks they are inseparable. Then, literally overnight, without warning, discussion, or reason, she changes. Suddenly, he is crowding her. He is in her face. She lectures him for taking her to an expensive restaurant that she chose. When pressed, she responds that she could never have a long-term relationship with him as he is not in her heart. However, perhaps she can find a balance. Jim decides to stay with the relationship, hoping a balance can be found. He pays her bills, he fills her car with gas, he continues to wine and dine her, he is there to meet her every need and solve her seemingly endless problems. Weeks later, the truth rears its ugly head a second time. Her ex has been back. This explains the changes in the relationship and her behavior. In spite of this, Jim is now in her heart a little bit. Besides, she wants more from a relationship than the ex can provide. Jim decides to stay with the relationship yet again. Weeks pass. Nothing changes. Over dinner, Jim takes a stand against the way she is using him. They argue. She leaves the restaurant. He attempts to find her. She accuses him of stalking her. The nursing home account is lost. How might the I Do philosophy have served Sandra and Jim? At the very least, both Sandra and Jim should have adhered to the 10 pearls to ponder while dating. Its guidance alone would have saved them from the grief and pain they suffered. For example, had Sandra and Jim set and kept boundaries, they might have saved themselves from giving time, effort, energy, and money foolishly or to the foolish, unworthy or undeserving. Remember, once a relationship sours, without warning, discussion, or reason, the truth regarding that relationship has reared its ugly head. This discovery by itself would have saved them from the needless emotional, spiritual, and physical torment that followed. Sandra and Jim would have benefited from I do philosophy items by accepting that the other person each was seeing was unwilling or unable to comply with it. That is, both did not reflect will behave item 1, I will communicate honestly and openly with my partner in all matters. Will behave item 4, I will not impose a financial burden on myself or my partner. Will behave item 5, I will not consider my partner as a means to an emotional or financial end. Will behave item 9, I will respect my partner. And will behave item 10, I will not dishonor myself or my partner. If Sandra and Jim had lived the I do philosophy and expected their partners to reflect it back, they might have decided much earlier that the relationship was high risk. In turn, Sandra might have removed herself from the relationship before the abuse occurred, and Jim might have left before his professional standing was at risk. Clearly, in both of these cases, the I do philosophy would have exposed the high-risk situation Sandra and Jim ended up in. Adhering to the I do philosophy would have given Sandra and Jim ample reasons to walk away from their relationships before any more energy, effort, time, or money was wasted or harm could occur. Without question, they both would have been better off lonely and alone than used and abused. Case 3. I'm leaving on a jet plane. Carol is an occupational therapist who has been dating an audiologist for 3 years. She is content to continue dating while they pay off school loans and save for a down payment on a house. He has had enough of waiting for all these answers and insists they get on with their relationship. Carol agrees. They spend the rest of the evening happily discussing wedding plans. 1 week later, without warning or discussion, he accepts a new position and leaves immediately for New York. Carol is surprised by this sudden move, but agrees to follow him as soon as possible. Carol phones him every night. They both confess an emptiness without the other. After only 2 weeks apart, they agree that Carol must take some vacation time and visit. He meets her at the airport. He seems distant and preoccupied. Without explanation, he drops her off at a nearby hotel. An hour later, he phones her and confesses that he has met someone else. Although he loves Carol, this someone else has made him realize that he is not in love with Carol. Carol is devastated. She returns home to build a shrine in her heart and in her apartment to him. Depressed and grieving, Carol drifts from one day to the next, blaming herself for his actions, and tormenting over if only and what if. How might the I Do philosophy have served Carol? The I Do philosophy is designed to protect against the financial harm that a relationship can cause. Matters of the heart can exact a high price that might not be protected against or escaped from, even with the I Do philosophy to guide you. However, the I Do philosophy can serve Carol if she is willing to let the truths it uncovers speak for themselves. That is, the will behave items are based upon honor, loyalty, and commitment to your partner. Ultimately, he proved himself incapable of honor, loyalty, and commitment, to Carol at least. Which begs the question, why would Carol even want such a person in her life or as her husband, who is capable of such unkind, cruel, and superficial behavior? His violation of will behave item 1, I will communicate honestly with my partner. Will behave item 9, I will respect my partner, and will behave item 10, I will not dishonor my partner or myself by being deceitful, unkind, or cruel, should be enough for Carol to accept the end of their relationship. Put another way, it is better that this someone else came along before they were married, not after, when the price would be higher. Case 4. Buyer beware. Kip is a 30-year-old attorney who meets, dates, and reluctantly marries the classic trophy wife. Kip soon learns that her tastes are expensive, her wants unending. She attempts to change him, but after 9 months of marriage, Mrs. Kip concludes that he is not exciting enough for her, nor is he into the social scene as she is. Kip returns home from the office one afternoon and finds another man wearing his bathrobe. Kip tries desperately to defend his honor, but only succeeds in getting his butt kicked. Her adulterous behavior was of no consequence in the substantial divorce settlement she received. Apparently, she became accustomed to this lifestyle after only 9 months within it. How might the I Do philosophy have served Kip? That Kip entered into marriage reluctantly is a hint that he suspected something was amiss while dating. Had he applied the I Do philosophy, he might have uncovered her expensive tastes, unending wants, and desire for a social life that he was unable to provide before the marriage. At a minimum, some version of the current and future expectations worksheet might have uncovered his ultimate failings. Perhaps he might also have benefited from applying Will Behave Item 1, I will communicate honestly in all matters with my partner. Will Behave Item 2, I will not expect anything of my partner that I will not expect of myself. Will Behave Item 3, I will not expect my partner to provide any material or financial possessions that I cannot afford through my own income. And will behave Item 4, I will not impose a financial burden to my partner. Discovering any of these failings before marriage might have caused Kip to act upon his reluctance rather than ignore it. Consider we believe Item 2, neither partner will demand a lifestyle greater than one their own income make possible. We believe Item 3, upon divorce I will forfeit any advance in lifestyle which is the result of the other partner's income. And we believe Item 8, entertainment demands of any partner will not be greater than that their own income could make possible. Any or all of these might have exposed the fact that she saw Kip as a means to an end. Kip in turn might have decided not to marry her, which would have saved him from getting his butt kicked, in and out of court. Case 5. To boldly go where a divorce lawyer will take you. Submitted for your approval. A man. Let's call him Mr. Starrick. A talented man, a prolific writer of all things science fiction. Sadly, however, fame and fortune are not quick to find this man. Divorce soon follows, as it often does when times become trying. Mr. Starrick surrenders half of his meager income to his former wife, as the obligatory divorce settlement demands. 30 years pass. During these decades, Mr. Starrick creates a great and vast television and motion picture empire. His ex-wife, in spite of the fact that a divorce settlement was granted 30 years ago, files suit against him seeking compensation for her role in the empire her ex-husband built. Mr. Starrick is about to learn what so many before him have learned. This hideous monster called divorce is never to be escaped from. Its settlement but vapor. Mr. Starrick is about to enter a recurring nightmare we call the divorce zone. How might the I Do philosophy have served Mr. Starrick and or the former Mrs. Starrick? If each had followed the I Do philosophy and documented the former Mrs. Starrick's role in the creation of this empire, the pending suit might be moot. How? By assuring her any fair and equitable part she played, or by proving that she provided but intangibles, love, support, or the usual things expected in marriage. Either of these discoveries would have nipped the greedy divorce lawyer in the bud. Will behave item 7. I will not expect to gain more from the relationship than I have equitably earned. And will behave item 8. I will not expect to leave the relationship in a greater financial position than I have equitably earned. Would have served and protected both of them. We believe item 2. Neither partner will demand a lifestyle greater than one their own income makes possible. And we believe item 3. Upon divorce, I will forfeit any advance in lifestyle which is the result of the other person's income. Might have solved this suit before it occurred. We believe items 4 and 5 would have established equity during the marriage, placed a percentage into the joint bank account, and placed the rest into Mr. Starrick's personal account where it would be free from just this type of action. The most important I do item in this case is cited under modifications. None. Once the marriage is dissolved, neither person has access, right, entitlement, interest, or claim in the subsequent income and or property of the other. Mr. Starrick was indeed a talented and gifted writer. Too bad he didn't take the time to write an I do contract. Case 6, from Stallion to Gelding. Kip again. Our hero's second marriage is to a legal secretary, who has not worked since the wedding day. 2 children and a $2 million home later, Kip seemed bored, burned out, and disinterested. Mrs. Kip number 2 is not concerned or afraid that he might leave her because if he did, she would hit him where it hurts. How might the I do philosophy have served Kip the second time around? Kip had been stung before. We believe item 7. If both are employed, both will remain employed until both agree to a change. And we believe item 2. Neither partner will demand a lifestyle greater than one their own income makes possible. Might have exposed her intention to quit work and her apparent lifestyle demands. Perhaps Kip could have applied the lesser income rule and let her income set the lifestyle and entertainment levels of the relationship. This might also expose any ulterior motive on her part. We believe item 3, upon divorce, any advance in lifestyle that is the result of the other person's income is forfeit. And we believe item 4, prorating expenses and joint account deposits, as well as will behave item 7, I will not expect more from the relationship than equitably earned. And we believe item 8, I will not leave the relationship with more than I equitably earned, might prevent her from hitting him where it hurts. Moreover, will behave item 3, I will not expect from my partner any material possession that I cannot provide for myself, might be asked of her. Can she build a $2 million home? If not, then why not accept a more typical home given that she is not paying for it? Finally, will behave item 4, I will not impose a financial burden to my partner, might eliminate Kip's apparent burnout. Fine, Kip. Be burned out, but keep churning and burning and smiling. If not, the current divorce system will allow Mrs. Kip number 2 to turn you into a gelding. And finally, case number 7, rescue me. Sheila is a 23-year-old unwed mother of 2. The biological fathers are of no help to her. Since children were born, Sheila has a knack of finding and dating only professional men. She openly uses sex as a tool to attract and control the men she dates. Sheila's best friend gives her the phone number of a recently divorced corporate attorney whom the best friend had been seeing. According to the best friend, the guy is balding, overweight, and is very moody over the financial and emotional beating the ex-wife gave him. Sheila tracks him down anyway. The corporate attorney is immediately awestruck. He soon confesses to everyone that this is the woman he has waited his whole life for. Nothing will stop him from having her. He ignores the many warnings about her past. She insists that if they are to remain together, he must adopt her children. 6 weeks later, they marry. Soon after, she quits her job. Soon thereafter, he adopts the children. 6 months later, she is pregnant with his child. A new home is under construction. A new car is purchased. A new wardrobe is needed. And the list goes on. How could the I Do philosophy have served the balding, overweight, moody corporate attorney? Frankly, it could not. Why? His focus is not where it should be. His focus should be on a rational examination of the situation. It is not. Instead, his focus is on her to the point of obsession. Because of his obsession, he refused to heed the warnings that were evident to everyone but him. Face facts, her knack of dating only professional men and insisting that he adopt her children should have served as a warning of potential ulterior motives on her part. He certainly would not have adhered to the code of ethics, resolutions, and other demands of the I Do philosophy. Put another way, for the I Do philosophy to serve any value, it must be applied, not ignored. This concludes our discussion on case studies. Our next topic will be What If? Questions raised during the writing of the book I Do If It's Equitable. I hope you will join me. If you learned anything of value, please consider hitting that like and share button. Leave me a comment, especially if you have a question, concern, problem, or issue we might be able to solve together. Or perhaps you can assist me in improving my presentation to you. Finally, if you feel I am worthy of your time and effort, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you will know when I upload a new installment of the I Do philosophy. Until next time, date wisely, date safely, and remember, I do, if it's equitable.